Welcome to Holland&Hobbs. Today we have a special guest joining us. His name is Chig Martin. He is running to be governor here in Alabama. We've been talking a lot of things about, where Alabama's heading, the growth, politics, and just the direction of the state and our local area too as well. And we wanted to bring on the candidates that's running for our state to pick the brain and have a conversation with them.
We actually got started the whole thing got started in our local during our local mayor race. Um, we thought that people didn't know enough about, you know, issues, what was going on, who was running, especially younger people, like more well, I don't guess we're super young, but that younger age group. So that's kind
Mhm.
of how this whole thing came to be anyway. So we felt like with a governor race, we should try and see who could talk to us about that just to make people more informed.
Oh, yeah.
Now I will tell you, Jake, this is not a formal interview. This ain't
No.
Regis and Kathy and Lee over here.
Yeah, we're very informal.
So yeah, I do want to thank you for being with us.
Yeah.
Just to start, because when people ask me who is Chig Martin, I say the white guy with the hat.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you you
That's a
tell us
pretty
who
good
are you?
description. Yeah.
Who are you? You tell the audience who you are.
Well, I'll just start off. I am Chad Chig Martin. I'm from the Wiregrass region of Alabama, which is southeastern Alabama.
Mhm.
I'm from a town called Enterprise, where I was
Okay.
born and raised there. The Boll Weevil City is what
Mhm.
it's called, and you know, come from a very humble family. I had a mom that didn't finish the 10th grade of high school, a dad that finished high school only, and they just got married at a young age and went to work and worked hard throughout their life and become small business owners in the enterprise community. And were always great parents to me. And I was fortunate enough to get a full football scholarship out of Enterprise High School that paid for my schooling, and so I've been real blessed in that area. When I got out of college, and I like people to know this, I started at the bottom. First job out of college was selling Electrolux vacuum cleaners door to door, and so worked my way up in life from right there. And I did things in high school, from working convenience stores to working furniture stores, loading furniture, cutting grass. Um, when you see a lot of people running from statewide office, usually they're people that a lot of times that come from privilege, that come from successful parents that are judges or lawyers or surgeons, and I just like for people to know where I come from, and that there's something that relates to. I know how it is to be broke. I know how it is to have a little money, be broke again, have a little money, because that's life sometimes. Sometimes things are going better than other times. So I kind of I understand the challenges that people go through in this state. And obvious, as you can see today, we're a campaign that we talk to any and everybody. We're honored to be here with you guys today and appreciate the opportunity.
So just to confirm here, you said you was born in Alabama.
Oh yeah, I was. A matter of fact, I was not only born in Alabama, I still live in the same house that I was born in 58 years ago. So,
So you live in Alabama currently.
In the state.
That
Yeah.
oh yeah, yeah. The only time I've not been in Alabama is when I took a full football scholarship
okay. So you
to
also have. I mean,
Tennessee.
you have an Alabama's driver's license, correct?
Mhm.
just
Yes,
we just
yes,
want to
yes,
confirm you are a candidate from
yes.
Alabama.
You
This
wouldn't
Correct.
you think
Oh
that would be assumed, but
yeah.
you can't assume anything these days.
all right. Awesome.
No.
So going into you, I am familiar that you have a business in the hemp industry, correct?
Well, I did. It's out of business now,
Yeah,
but
because
I
they
did.
made it illegal.
Yeah.
So one of the things when your name comes up to me, I think people associate you to a. They say you're a one. You have one main issue, and that's why you're running for Alabama. What's your response to that?
Well, I really don't understand why somebody would say that unless they don't do research for
Hmm.
themselves, because I've actually got more. I I'll just tell you the difference between myself and other candidates.
Okay.
All the and this is all of the other candidates. They tell you statistics and we're ranked here and that's not acceptable and we're ranked here in this area. Well, I am the only candidate that actually offers plans and ideas to actually solve and fix these problems. And so I take a lot of pride in that. And that comes from being when you're a small businessman, and really the sixth ranked state in poverty in America, you have to learn to be creative, and that's and innovative, and that's what I think I can bring to the state of Alabama.
So, no, no, you say you're well. I know that that bill affected your, business. Of course, you said it's out of business,
Mhm.
which is very unfortunate because I feel like that's crazy to have hemp be a higher charge than at this point marijuana.
And for
Oh, I
and to
know.
take away people's livelihood. I
Well,
mean,
and to think that with something I sold in my store 6 months ago, if you get caught with it now, you can lose your right to vote. I mean, with a felony,
right.
you know. Yeah. So it's pretty sad.
Definitely priorities out of whack, which I think if Alabama had a state motto, it would be that
I know.
historically. Yeah.
Yeah.
Outside of that, what would you say your like top priority would be?
Well, I can just tell you this in the state of Alabama, and I just mentioned it earlier, most of all of our problems stem from the fact that we're the sixth ranked state in poverty in America. And that really affects a lot of different areas in the state. It affects first of all, it affects people's livelihood, opportunities for health care insurance. It trickles down into bad school systems. And I don't like to. I really don't like to put our teachers and things down because you have to have resources available to shine as a teacher and things like that. And we don't necessarily have that in the state. But yeah, the first thing I want to do in this state right away is I want to start. My strength is as a businessman is going to be recruiting a good industry to the state. It's going to be not just recruiting industry, but recruiting specifically for different areas of the state. We have, for instance, like in Mobile, they have strong shipbuilding,
Mhm.
aerospace, medical. So we're going to recruit in that area for the things they're already strong at, and we're also going to make some investments. And you'll hear me mention things I want to invest in. And one of the things is I want to invest in some roads and infrastructure into the Black Belt region of Alabama, which is some of our poorest counties in the state, because
Mhm.
it's just been too long that this problem hasn't been addressed here, where we have an entire region of a state suffering and their children suffering. And so we've got to make some investments there and build these roads and bridges and technology parks. Some of the other things that I want to do related to improving the economy and recruiting industry is I want to start the Alabama Job Corps program. And these will be centers placed throughout the state that both young people and adults can go to learn skilled labor trades. And
Mhm.
part of our industry recruitment will be built side by side with these trade schools. If we're going to, if for instance, as we were talking about Mobile, if we're going to get a job corps center in that area, it's going to be training in the things that we're recruiting. Maybe if it's aerospace, it's going to be in welding or machine shop, building parts and things like that. It may be a nursing program, but that's some of the main things we're going to focus on. And I'll let you. And I have other things, but I'll let you ask your questions. And if we don't get to I'll talk about other things. So
Well, I
yeah,
think
yeah.
that's a great
I don't want to
idea.
answer everything in one answer. I'm sure you have some.
No, I have a cousin that's getting ready to move to California with her sister and hasn't really had, the opportunity to figure out what she's going to do. She's younger and she's doing an electrician program there that's through the state. So they kind of, if you invest in your people, then they are going to produce things that help your state. And I don't know why that's such like a, those crazy liberals out in California, get that reputation, but isn't that what a state should be doing, is investing,
Oh
in
yeah,
in your
and
people?
here's what I think. I think the dynamics of college education has changed during our lifetime here.
For sure.
I think things that people are getting degrees for in college now are going to be really hurt by AI.
Mhm.
And whereas a company needed teams of software developers and IT people and things like that, I- AI is going to make a lot of that go away. So the future in this country really is in skilled labor, skilled
Mhm.
trades, and so yeah, to your point, that's exactly why I'm for all that
Well, and
stuff.
even like, I know when we were when in high school, and we graduated high school in '05, and then I
Mm.
graduated college in '09, and they told us, just go to college. That's the only way you're going to be successful. And I did, and I had to do student loans. I didn't come from a family with money, and I graduated college and had no more, step up in the job field than anybody else. And
Yeah,
then I owed money that I
yeah,
still owe because I've paid diligently, but you've got that stupid interest, and
good.
so it's like they set you up for failure. And it's only gotten worse. It's only gotten more
Yeah.
expensive. And then even people graduating with professional degrees are not making near the money that they put in to go to college. And so I feel like as a state, you've got to do something. I mean, you
Well,
know.
and just what you just said right there, if you pick somebody your same age that graduated the high school the same year as you, and let's just say they did go to a trade school and maybe for whatever labor trade that it may be, by the time the 4 years comes up that you would have gotten out of college, this person is already
Mhm.
banking money while
Correct.
you're getting out looking for a job owing a
Correct.
bit
And
of
then
money.
and
Yeah.
then I work, I have a political science degree that I've worked in home building for the last 14 so years. So not even using the thing, because the only other thing to do with it is be to go to law school. And I was like, that's the last thing I want to do. So spend more money and more time in college. So I think that it's a kind of an epidemic that, what's the incentive to go to college? Which, I mean, that needs to be fixed in itself, because we do need people to go to college and
Yeah.
become doctors and nurses and things like that. But we also need, the other is just as important and not any less admirable. So
Oh, yeah.
for sure, I think that's a good program to start to help people with that.
Now I do have a question because, like, I mean, it's a great segue. Talking about education, we did an episode last year sometime, and it was just on the spot. We were looking up education rankings,
Oh yeah.
and we were shocked to find out. I guess it's a good shock or a bad shock, how you look at it. Mississippi was ranking ahead of us in education, way ahead of us. And it used to, as an Alabamian,
Thank God for Mississippi.
we would say, "Yeah, at least we're not Mississippi." We can't even say that anymore.
I know. I
And they're
know.
not just like one ahead. They're like
It
they're
was
like
it
in
was
the 30s, weren't
it
they?
was a lot. They're ranked way ahead of us. So my question would be, as far as education, like, what would be your plan to improve it here? Because I did see that education is part of your platform.
Yeah, well, one and there's a few things I talk about when I talk about education, but the one that just jumps out at everyone is the amount of money that we're pouring into other states with the lottery. We're building schools in Georgia, Florida, and Tennessee while ours are dilapidating, and Alabama money is building those schools. And um, you know, uh, 46 out of 50 states have the lottery now. And it just is kind of funny that we rank in that window from 46 to 50th. Uh, and there's kind of a direct correlation. And what I would like to do, if we could, and first of all, I do tell you this, I think if the lottery was a vote on the ballot, that it would overwhelmingly pass. if the citizens were to vote on it here in Alabama. Um, and you know, but one of the things we want to do is we want to make sure we get our teachers. They're some of the most underpaid teachers in the country, and we've got to shore that up and get them paid correctly. We've got to get new buildings and new updated technology for our students for this ever changing environment in the business world that we're in. And thirdly, I want to be able to offer scholarship programs for our students that excel here in the state of Alabama. And so, and one of the biggest things, and I've never heard anybody say this before, but uh, I'd mentioned earlier that I want to make investments in the state. And one of the key investments I want to make is I want to bring in some of the top state educational program managers in the country from some of these states that have the top scores. And I want to get good people here to Alabama, because I tell people sometimes we just have to face the facts. We've not been good at running an educational program when it comes to, and that's not a knock against our teachers. It's really not, but uh, you know, our test grades uh, don't rank very well and things like that. And we've got to get good people in place to help us start building the core of an educational program and get it going.
So would you say, as far as key to improving education would be getting a lottery passed here?
Oh, it's a huge part of it. It's just money that we're literally throwing in the
Throwing
trash
away?
can. Yeah,
Well,
I
and I
mean,
think Alabama historically does not put a priority on education when it comes to
mhm.
money because I'm not sure why. There's obviously a direct correlation with like your people being educated and being successful. But you hear about the current, and I know we'll get to this topic, but the super max prisons that are being built, that's a whole issue itself. It's like, okay, well, we don't have the money to finish this. Well, let's just pull it from the education. And then, there's other candidates running, maybe the kind that don't live in the state, who their answer to everything is, well, we'll pull that from the education. And they're actually saying that up front. I mean, I would at least, if that's your mindset, I don't think that would be my platform.
Don't say
Like,
it
we're
out
gonna
loud.
steal from the education fund for that. And so it's just sad that it has no reflection on the teachers. It's
Oh,
just
yeah.
sad that that's every time they want to pull money from somewhere because they ran out somewhere else, it's the education fund.
It doesn't matter where you work if you don't have a good. In this case, it'd be the state, but if you don't have a good company behind you providing you the tools and resources you need, I
Right.
mean, you don't have a good company. And it's the same thing with the state. I
Right.
mean, they don't have a good nucleus behind them, and so it's
Right.
not the teacher's fault. So,
No.
I
but
always say, I mean, I think we spend a lot of time with the lottery talking about where the money's going to go. Where like we live in Athens, so it's a 30-minute drive to Tennessee border to go buy a lotto ticket. And when the lotto gets so big, I can't tell you how many like Jefferson County tags I see in Ardmore, Tennessee. it's,
30.
yeah,
It's 15.
it's like, yeah, it's like, what are we
I live
doing?
on a state line, but in one of the main routes into Florida. So trust me,
Mhm.
I see what you're talking about.
It's like
I
you're
mean,
not stopping no one from doing it at all.
yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, the little communities are built on state lines with convenience stores and little lunch restaurants just to sell lottery tickets. Yeah.
Mhm.
Is there any other, I guess, investment into Alabama, like if a lottery was to be passed, that you would see that money going into outside of
No,
education?
no, that would be completely for education, teacher raises, scholarships. It would not go outside of the educational parameters. But see, and if you want me to see, I have different plans for different areas of the state. If you want me to go into some of that, I'll be glad to. Um,
I mean, I'm not gonna stop you. You got a plan.
okay,
I
so
love to hear.
so when it comes to things, you know, one of the things that we were, and we talked about it earlier with the natural medicine, and the reason I'm talked about a lot within that is because I was the first in that business in the state of Alabama, and that brought me a
Okay.
lot of uh, I
Notoriety.
mean, Yeah, it really did. I mean, it was not asked for, to be quite honest with you, but it
But you
did.
probably also learned a lot along the way
Oh,
that
yeah,
your
yeah.
average person doesn't know.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, listen, we had people, um, when we got into that business, they were saying, "Well, how old does a person have to be to buy the CBD?" Well, we're calling the state, and the state can't even give us an answer.
That's
So
right.
our store made up the age of 21, and so the rest of the state fell in line based off of our recommendation, and because we knew that 21 would be, that's to get alcohol or whatever. We knew it was would be a safe age for us to quote. But yeah, that's how lost our state was. I mean, we were literally setting rules and guidelines for the state out of our store down in Dothan, Alabama. But
And why
yeah,
do you think that all of a sudden this became the hill that they wanted to die on?
well,
Why all of a sudden was it something they needed to instead of getting making progress, going backwards?
alcohol and pharma spent $850 million just last year alone to political campaigns and
Mhm.
political PACs because alcohol sales were going down, pharmaceutical pain pill sales were going down, and they found natural medicine as a threat to their bottom line. And
And
that's
so
what got
basically
them
they've
shut
got
down.
our government in their pocket, so they were able to just push their agenda through.
Yeah, one thing about me is I'm a realist, and we talk
Same.
about things like natural medicine, and I try to explain to people, whether it's legal or not, people have never had any problems if they want to find uh
Mhm.
natural products. We're just calling them that to be safe here on this
Right, right.
podcast. But yeah, I mean, anybody in the state could find this at any time. So
Right.
that's the reality of it. And I've always said, why not let's take advantage of it's just like we have the medical is legal now for 4 years in state, but nobody can actually get their hands on any product now 4 years later. And that's another story. They've messed that up. But I've said, why not let's embrace a worldwide trend right now, which is natural medicine and medicinal herbs. And we're a farming state. That's what we do. Let's be a leader in this natural medicine farming. I mean, we have our farmers now waiting on subsidies because they can't even get rid of their crops. Let's give them
Mhm.
a crop that they can sell, thrive on, and let's take it a step farther and make our agricultural universities in the state leaders in teaching systems. Let's train the PhDs and let them graduate from Alabama schools and work throughout the world as leaders in natural medicine. And you're going to see. And secondly, if it were if natural medicine was legal in the state of Alabama, and it can be, it's medically legal now, but because of a de- defunct government, we can't even get it off the ground. But if you could imagine all the money and revenue that would come in through farming, through the teaching systems, through the sales at the counter, we could fix our infrastructure in this state and have general improvements to this state like you have never seen before. And that's where we are on that. And listen, here's the thing: it's coming, but we're going to be just like we are in everything. We're going to be one of the last ones to get involved with it when there's no meat left on the bone.
Yep.
And the other thing it offers, we live in a world where many things are laced with fentanyl now. I mean, from natural products to pills and things like that. You offer a safe alternative to these people that use these products right now, as we're speaking, illegally in the state. But instead of getting them in the back alleys of gas stations, let's provide stores where the state's getting tax revenue and the products are lab tested and safe. It's just a win win.
Mhm.
So I've never in my life smoked anything at all, not even a cigarette or anything. But I was like, for me as a non-smoker, even I can say everybody knows someone that uses natural
Oh,
products,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
everybody can see that it's less dangerous than alcohol. Alcohol is far more dangerous than someone smoking anything at all or taking anything. And everybody's okay if you're drinking, like the kid from Alabama who got suspended. If it had been
yeah.
a case, cases of beer or liquor, everybody would have laughed about it because what they found in his dorm, he couldn't play in the tournament, which I found crazy. Like, let it go. It's legal in other places. If it was any other place, he would still play. But because
Hey,
of Alabama, he couldn't play.
I always say this, you see lots of fights in bars, but you never see a fight in a dispensary.
Never.
I mean,
You
That's so
ain't lying.
true.
You ain't lying.
That's so
They're the
true.
most chill. They just want to be relaxed. They might
yeah,
get hungry a little later.
yeah, exactly.
But I mean, I have family in Washington State, and so there you go. They're on every corner, and it's not just like your stereotypical like people you picture. It's just regular people. I mean, they might
Yeah.
go in there because they can't sleep very good at night, or they've got arthritis, or I mean, it's all kinds of people that could take advantage of it on the using it side, and then also that this all the benefits of for the state if it could just be legalized.
Well, and the sad part is, I mean, it gets kind of overlooked, but I mean, you've literally got people searching for liquor stores as soon as they open every morning. They're so addicted to alcohol and honestly, people are. I mean, you have to be cautious about anything you do that's an enhancing thing. But I mean, alcohol puts more Alabamians in danger than hemp ever
Well, and
has.
even
Oh,
prescription
yeah,
pills,
exactly.
are
Yeah.
they've there's lawsuits tied up, and there's
Mhm.
been documentaries and stuff, and like I watched one on Netflix. I can't remember the name of it, but it was about the oxycodone pandemic and how that came to be, and you have sympathy for the people that just hurt and just want some comfort, but it ends up taking their lives a lot of
Yeah. Yeah.
times.
Oh, yeah.
And it truly is an epidemic, especially in poor rural areas,
Yeah.
where they were getting these doctors to prescribe it to get kickbacks, and it's gross, honestly. And the
No.
fact that we would want to promote that and not a safer, healthier alternative is,
Yeah.
again, out of whack.
Well, and I've always tried to be yeah, I had posted something on my Facebook page about a week ago. You know, with it's like with alcohol. People drink the alcohol to apparently make themselves feel good. Well, it's the same thing with natural medicines. It just makes you feel good. And
Mhm.
that a lot of people feel like they have to justify, oh, I have it for my fibromyalgia or my sleeping or whatever. But you know what? At some point somebody's got to say, hey, people like it just because it makes them feel better too. You
Yeah,
know?
for sure.
Yeah.
So what I take from this is that we're leaving a lot of money on the table by not having the lottery and not having marijuana passed in the
Well,
state.
and
It's
I
a lot of money being left and going to other places.
well, and I'll just tell you, we're kind of on things. So I've named a couple of things that I want to work on there. We talked about schools, and we've talked about schools for education, and we talked about possibly, if we can get a guy like me in office, having the natural medicines for infrastructure improvements and things in our state. And then I would say probably the best plan that I have put together is I call it the Alabama Gaming and Healthcare Fund. And basically, this is where I want to have 4 areas across the state where all of our gambling would be contained in those 4 zones. I don't want it all over the state. I don't want it at gambling machines in every corner, gas station. I want it all in these 4 areas. I want it to be run by state employees that are making good wages and health care benefits. And I want a board, and here's the key, this board has to run nonpartisan that's over this, not Democrat, not Republican. I want a nonpartisan board that cannot, or if they can take donations, a very limited amount. I mean, to the tune of maybe $10,000 for the whole cycle. I don't want this board to be influenced. And I want them to oversee this Alabama Gaming and Healthcare Fund at these zoned areas. We're going to have the full casino gambling. We would have golf courses, family entertainment, arts and entertainment, concert venues. And what this will happen, and first of all, these are going to make so much money that we're actually not going to know what to do with, but I have a plan for that. But what I want this to do is we like I said, we're the sixth ranked state in poverty, which means our people can't afford these high healthcare costs that are happening right now. And my daughter's even impacted with these healthcare costs, and she's only 31 years old and paying a lot more for insurance than a 31-year-old should have to be paying for
Right.
just to have basic insurance. And so I want this money. I want there to be areas. If somebody makes $10,000 to $20,000 a year, they could get so much of this money to go toward healthcare, and it has to go toward healthcare. That's the kicker here. And if you make 20 to 30, you get so much, and so on. And then there's other parts of this Alabama Gaming and Healthcare Fund, and one of it is a percentage goes to rural hospitals across the state that are shutting down, and some of our areas like the Black Belt and rural counties. And then the other thing that I want this to help with is in areas of the state that don't have the rural hospitals. I want to make sure that there are basic health care centers in those areas. And lastly, I want it to go toward creating, for the first time in Alabama history, a successful mental health care program. Um, we have people walking around. I tell people all the time, you see people walk around the state and you say, oh, they're a drug addict, or well, not every single person is. Some of these people are people with mental health care problems that have nowhere to go, nowhere to seek treatment, nobody to lean on in the state. And that's why I think it's important that we address those issues. So, if I can get in office and have some reasonable people work with me, I mean, I have plans that would put our state in a brand new direction in a positive way.
Yeah.
So that's kind of leads me to my next question for you. A big thing that kind of hit nationally about Alabama was that documentary, Alabama.
Mhm.
What was it?
The
Solution.
Yeah, Alabama
Yeah, the Alabama
a
solution.
prison solution, and I think a lot of people end up in prison for mental health, um, needing natural remedies and can't get it. Like, how many people like are locked up just for that? And like I think
Oh,
with
yeah.
Alabama, our problem is that we lock up people and then we keep them there. We don't. We have a very low parole rate. Our prisons suck. So people once they get into that prison system, it's like just a never ending cycle of them getting in and out of prison.
Yeah, and what she was speaking of earlier about the money being pulled out of the education system for the prisons, instead of taking $100 million to build more cages, I would have rather taken, if we were going to take that $100 million in and invest in Alabama in jobs and opportunities to keep these folks out of prison. They're going to prison because of lack of opportunity. You know, people in the state, a lot of people that are so hard on others are people that come from money, and they don't understand what it is like to be born into a poor family with a not ever having an opportunity to get a good education. And we've I forgot what I was saying, but anyway, I was thinking ahead. What was I talking about?
Well, the prison says about the people
Oh
like
yeah,
The
yeah,
have and
yeah.
the
I
have
would, I,
nots.
I would have, yeah, I would have rather invested in our people and opportunity than building more cages. That's
well,
not
and
the
even
solution.
you see around the country like the sweet stories in different places about programs even in the prisons that they have for those guys that are working towards rehabilitation. I mean, I saw not too long ago that was, of course, not the violent criminals, but the ones that, like, have a hope to get out, and like their daughters that they haven't seen, some of them in years, and like they had like a father-daughter dance type situation, and where they're kind of teaching them, like, when you do get out, this is how you be a dad, this is how you have
Yeah,
that kind of stuff. And even like there was one the other day about cats. Like if you were a
yeah,
well-behaved prisoner, you got a pet cat, and it had
yeah,
like greatly increased the mental, like, well-being and health, because they actually had like something to do, something to be productive and take care of, and you know companionship and that kind of thing. And like here you're just like, oh, it sucks for you, this is your lot in life, and it just doesn't have to be that way.
Well, and one of the things too, and you heard me mention about trade schools. I want to invest in prison trade programs,
Absolutely.
and I want to allow, especially nonviolent offenders, the opportunities to go to these trade schools while they're in prison, and possibly even come out, if everything would go the way I would like it to, with a license in that trade, where they can immediately come out of prison and go to work with the license that they need to get a job in that particular trade. And I
I mean, we're
mean
already
that,
paying for them, we're
yeah,
feeding them and housing them and stuff in a way, not very well, but it could be better. So why
yeah.
not take advantage of that, and put them to work
We
in a
we
good way?
I don't really know why we keep putting such bad people in office here in Alabama. Really
Same.
the reason I ran,
Mhm.
because quite honestly, I'm just like every other Alabamian. I'm like, how do we put these people in here that do nothing for our state?
I
Literally, I,
I think it's a lot of, it goes back to the education, and I don't mean college, I just mean uh, learning about things. You said something about, well, if people had researched, but most people aren't going to.
I
They're
know.
just going to say, well, we've always voted Republican because they uphold our Christian conservative values. Well, never mind that they don't. It's
Yeah,
just what they're told, and that's enough for them, and they're not going to bother to research any further. So we just, if anybody knows the right keywords to say, that's all you have to do, because everyone's already made their mind up anyway.
yeah. I mean, it's just like these senators we have here in Alabama. They talk about all these bills and things they pass, but if you ever notice, none of them are for really helping Alabama citizens.
No.
They're for, let's rename the Gulf of Mexico. I
Right.
mean, just it's just the dumbest stuff, you know?
Right. Like, why are we, that's a waste of our energy.
Hey, we
Yeah,
we right here on that.
We are.
yeah,
We
yeah,
are here on that one.
Listen, my
yeah,
11-year-old, she's like, I will not call it the Gulf of America.
Uh,
Sorry.
so next, going back to our prisons, we're building three supermax prisons, and one of them alone is going to cost $1.3 billion, and that's for one prison. So when this is all said and done, we're probably going to end up spending close to $5 billion on prison.
That we don't have.
And then we keep pulling for it, because at first it was the COVID funds, then the education funds. So we keep pulling money out to build these supermax prisons. And my thing for you is like, I guess, how do we handle criminal justice reform? Because I do feel like we keep locking up people for small things that shouldn't even be there, and that's how we keep growing this prison complex in Alabama, where it's kind of, in my opinion, it's like a form of slavery. We put them in there and we
For
keep them
sure.
there, and then we don't let them out.
Well, and I'll tell you this, the biggest problem that we have in the state of Alabama prison system is that the state of Alabama is not actually in control of the systems and accountable. They have contracted all of these services out for the most part. And so basically, when you contract a service out, it means that you're paying double for that service as the state. If we're hiring uh, private guards within a prison from a contracting company, which we do, I mean, means we're paying that guard, and we're paying whatever that company needs to make uh, in commissions off of that
Mhm.
guard. And so the other thing about it is we lose control of what's happening in our systems when you've got outside contractors involved. So I want the state to be involved. I want to be able, if somebody ask the state about a particular inmate, I want to be able to look up this inmate and know everything about that's going on with this inmate. If his health been bad? Has he been in trouble within the system? We don't even have those basic measures right now as a state because and that's where a lot of these problems start. Um, you know, one of the other things too that the state's trying to make it a money making system as well, where they're letting inmates go out and work at places like McDonald's or Hardee's and things like that. And I understand the whole concept. The inmate gets a small percentage of the hourly pay. The state gets the rest of the pay. Well, here's the problem. After a couple of years of doing this, these same inmates are coming up for parole and getting denied parole, um, when in fact they're out in the general public
Mm.
for some cases 2 years working. So they're good.
Wow.
They're out in the public, and
Yeah.
but they're keeping them in prison because of this hourly wage
Because
fund.
they're
A lot
making
of
money
people,
off of them.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
putting all that money into one
So
big
literally
fund.
slavery,
Yeah, yeah. So
indentured
and
slavery. Maybe you
yeah,
get to think, maybe.
my goal in our prison system would be to stop recidivism. Recidivism meaning a rotating door. As soon as they're out, they're back in 2 or 3 months, and that's what we've got to put things in place where we send these folks out
Mhm.
ready to help their families and go to work. And
Right.
that would be a big goal. And I will tell you this: people that know me know this. I mean, this is a subject near and dear to my heart because I lost my brother while he was incarcerated at 40.
Okay.
He was 40 years old. So, and nobody's immune to the things that happen in
Right.
prisons. Yeah.
Well, I want to speak to transition up here to North Alabama. That's where we're at. You're in the South Alabama.
Mhm.
There's a lot of growth going on up here,
Mhm.
and I got a question asked to me from an agriculture guy to ask the candidates.
Mhm.
He said, there's a lot of farmland and timberland is being turned into subdivisions, and what he was saying is every year, once you pave over that dirt, it's gone forever. The land is gone
Mhm.
forever. So, what policies or incentives would you support or promote for smart growth while still protecting agriculture and natural land?
Yeah, and by the way, I've actually met with Mayor Tommy Battle up there in Huntsville before. He's been real good to me and taking time to meet at breakfast and just discuss things. And one of the things that I've told him that is important to me is responsible growth here in the state of Alabama. I think when we have areas that are booming, we need to be planning for things that are 50 years out from
Mhm.
from right now. We need to build roads and infrastructure and subdivisions with the plans of where will this area be in 50 years. And let's be out in front of things. Uh let's let's make roads and things and have it thought out in advance where we just don't load up an area and then all of a sudden the residents that live in that area are in a traffic problem now that have lived there for
Mhm.
years, and that's happening. I
Which
mean,
is all Madison is a large traffic problem.
well, on some of these rural roads, they're building apartment complexes that hold 1,500 people, and all of a sudden now you've got 1,000 cars pulling out of one
Right.
entrance into an apartment complex now on your road that you live on. And that's what I'm saying. We have to be responsible in our growth. So I agree with that. And you can tell your friend, I the only outdoor activities I have in life are things that are outdoors. I love I love fishing. I love hunting. I love looking through fields and trying to find Indian artifacts and arrowheads and things. I mean, I love the outdoors.
Mhm.
Do you think Alabama's growing too fast right now?
Um, the only place in Alabama that's growing too fast is really up in your area, in the Huntsville area. that, and it's because of really the military technology and things up there in that area. But it's not a problem anywhere else in the state, unfortunately.
Okay.
But the Huntsville area, because you guys aren't too far from Huntsville.
Yeah.
No, and actually we're right on the interstate. So we're exactly halfway between Birmingham and Nashville. So that was a big topic in our recent mayoral election, because everyone loves the growth until it's here, and then you start to feel the pain from it. And then no one ever can get it fixed fast enough, or
Yeah.
if you do, it's not the right way. I mean,
Well, we're in Limestone County,
Mhm.
and they just recently said again, Limestone County was the fastest growing county in Alabama, and I
I
think it's
believe it.
the seventh straight year
yeah.
it's been the fastest
Goodness.
growing county.
And I mean, our schools have suffered.
Yeah.
Our infrastructure has suffered.
Yeah.
It used to be just this quaint little cute, charming town, and it's still cute. It's just not quaint anymore.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, we got Texas Roadhouse this year.
Yeah.
we're big
Yeah.
tomatoes.
Stepping up, and we got Olive Garden coming.
Yeah.
We're stepping up.
Yeah, I bet the last time I was up there, you guys I believe y'all got a Courtyard or a Fairfield Inn, one of the two.
We did get a new hotel. We got a couple new hotels got built.
Yeah, I've stayed up there. Yeah,
We did.
yeah, yeah.
I do have one.
Y'all are right before to the Tennessee line, aren't you?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Best of both worlds.
That's why we got Buc-ee's. We were
Yeah,
right here.
Oh, yeah. That's how you really know you've arrived, when you get a Buc-ee's.
Hey, listen, my daughter loves stopping there for sure. Yeah,
Everyone does.
yeah.
So I got a big question for you. So
Okay.
we know what state we're in. We're in Alabama. The last time we had a Democrat governor was 1999 to I think 2003. What about you would make someone who usually vote Republican say, "I'm gonna give Chig a shot"?
Well, I'm just speaking candidly here. Most of the people that support me come from all of the parties, and it's because I don't toe political party lines. I'm just who I am. I think that's here's the thing: in the state of Alabama, you got to pick either Republican or Democrat to be on the ballot. So there's not many choices, and
Right.
and to me, it's sad that an independent candidate can't say, you know what, I want to run for governor, but I want to run as an independent.
I mean,
And
if you
just
have
can't-
any kind of progressiveness to you, you have to run on the Democratic ticket.
Well, and the thing too is the Republican side of it, people are already picked and chosen well in advance, and they're going to put it's just like when Tommy Tuberville came into the race. It ran who our current lieutenant governor right out of the governor's race. It ran because he knew that they were going to put the Republican Party were going to put all their marbles in with one person into the game.
They're dumping all the money into him.
Yeah, and so that's why all of them quit and got out, except the one that's challenging him right now. And so, I ran in the last election, and I'm running now. This will be my last time running here in the state of Alabama, unless I were to get fortunate enough to win. But yeah, it's a different race than it was the last time. A lot of things, and you guys know this, have happened and are happening right now that a big majority of Americans aren't happy with. I mean, we've got some of the lowest approval ratings in the history of polling going on right now. And so I think people, and I have people try to drag me into they'll say, well, I don't try to split up Alabamians. I just try to offer a message that gives everybody hope and an opportunity. I don't really know how to play that political game. And so I think a lot of people like us for that reason. I mean, we literally have Republicans, and I'm saying literally because it is every single day, send us message. They post it publicly and say, you're the first Democrat I'm ever going to vote for in my life. And I thank them for that. But I'm I try to be open to all Alabamians. I really don't care what your flavor is politically because I'm going to represent you to the best of my ability, equally, fairly, and just like you were my family. That's the way I'm going to govern for people. I
Well, I feel
mean,
like up until now with this current administration, even if they didn't, I mean, I'm talking state and federal, if they didn't always do it well, they at least tried. I mean, I've not ever known a candidate, or not a candidate, but a person in office that was so politically like pitting everybody against each other.
yeah, it's so sad. I mean, I tell people you've got candidates in the Republican Party that all they do is feed red meat to a rabid base, and then unfortunately, in the Democratic Party, you've got I don't call names so that way I don't get in any trouble, but you've got one of the main candidates in the Democratic Party that's trying to live and run a 1960s civil rights campaign. That's his whole message is a civil. Now, here's the funny thing. He's a white guy that lives in one of the most elite neighborhoods in the state. So, I mean, it's kind of hard. Uh, you know, you know, I-
That's a good segue
it's a lot of pandering is what I'm trying to get at in the state. And that's what I don't do. I mean, running the state of Alabama, and a lot of people don't like me saying this, but it is like being a business owner. If I'm going to be the governor of the state, it has to be my goal for the state of Alabama to finish every year with money in the bank account, not in the negative, and run the state properly.
right.
Give people that work within the state the tools they need to do the things we need to get done in the state, whether it be law enforcement, whether it be roads and bridges. I mean, I'm about just making life better for citizens, honestly.
What would you say if you were to win? What would Alabama look like under you in 4 to 8 years?
Oh gosh,
We already
if
said more money than we knew what to do with.
yeah, that's the thing about it. We we we've got a lot of work to do on the legislators here in the state of Alabama because for some reason they get into office and try to turn the times back to make us be like we're in the 1950s. And that's what we have to, as a state, we've got to put pressure on legislators to do right for citizens. And if somebody like me were elected, that would put immediate pressure on these people because unlike me, listen, I want to be the governor. I really do. I think I could do a great job, but win, lose, or draw. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to hang. If I win, I'm going to be so happy. If I lose, I'm going to be disappointed. But I will never hang my head because I've just tried to step up and do something for our citizens.
Mhm.
And, that's, yeah.
So I do think so. Going by what you said, I do think there's 5 candidates running for the Democrat primary here.
Mhm.
If you were the one to come up short, would you then? I mean, would you like support, throw your hat in for the one that did win that primary to push it forward the main election?
Not necessarily. I'd have to agree with whoever. I
Okay.
mean, I'd have to see their positions and policies, and there again, as I was telling you, I don't really toe political party lines.
Okay.
Even though I'm in the Democratic Party, I mean, if I'm going to endorse somebody, I got to believe in them.
What about though the fact that, like you said, Tommy Tuberville's already set, and I mean, unless somebody's able to work a miracle about the fact that he doesn't actually live here, I mean, he would probably be whoever the Democrat is running against. So even if, say, like, who, if you weren't to win the primary, Democratic primary, but and someone else, but then they know they're running against him, I'm one of those like, well, we might not agree with every single thing that this person says, but we know we don't line up with him, you
I
know.
don't think Tuberville's going to make it to the November ballot.
Well, that's
I
good
think
news.
Yeah, I mean, quite well. I mean, listen, it's this thing is now going into the court system,
Yeah.
and and that's a whole different ball game now. I mean, a court case has been filed. He has to he has to prove all of this now eventually
Mhm.
in a court of law. And listen, if it were easy for him to prove, I think he would have already done that by now. I
Right.
mean,
I mean, you can't go
yeah,
back and retroactively live somewhere that you didn't live, so
man, it's just like this. If you told me, said, Chad Martin, you need to prove your residency, I could have y'all my tax records by the end of the day tomorrow.
I like that.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's that simple.
Well, that's
I
most
mean,
people proving
yeah,
their
I
where
mean,
they
yeah. Well,
live.
I mean, if you were running for governor and they're telling you this is what may keep you out, you're going to say, okay, well, let me just get the records together and show you where I've paid taxes
Right.
here in the state of Alabama. And
Well, I
so,
think one issue with Tuberville, because you mentioned it, all the monies that's being dumped into him, like
Mhm.
they're not dumping all that money for no reason. Like I would assume they have a plan, and I mean we all know Tuberville's not here, so for them to put all that money into him is like kind of like they know what's going to be coming, or they're preparing for it. I guess you can say.
Yeah, like, who are they paying off to get him where he needs to be?
the potential winner of the Alabama Democratic primary could be the governor without a race even in
I've read
November.
that.
Yeah, and I mean that's where we are. So yeah, and listen, we've got a great base of supporters here in the state of Alabama. We really do. I mean, I cannot walk in one, restaurant or anything throughout this entire state and somebody not speak to me or tell me they're supporting me. I mean, our message is out there.
Yeah.
I feel like quite honestly, even though Tommy Tuberville has more people, because there's more Republicans here in Alabama, I don't think there's another candidate that's got a more motivated base than we have right now. We speak common sense. We don't speak hate. We don't talk down. I mean, just because it doesn't matter to me. What the color of your skin is, what your socioeconomic background is, what religion you worship. Well, guess what? As governor, I represent everyone equally and fairly.
Right.
Period. Everybody has the same exact rights, and that's the way I feel.
I
You
feel
know,
like we've in Alabama has been run by a Republican, majority for over 20 years now. And my thing is like, what have we really gotten from it other than staying
yeah.
the same? And staying the same is
Just being embarrassed,
only
actually.
keeping us behind.
And
I'm
Embarrassment.
I
like,
leave you guys hanging, but I've got to be on another podcast at 7 o'clock.
no, all
No, you're
good.
Give you
good.
guys a couple of minutes. I didn't want to spring it on
No,
you.
all good.
No, you're
Listen,
good.
I was actually wrapping up right then.
Mhm.
We do appreciate you for being
Yeah, for
on,
sure.
having
Thank you so much. Y'all do a great job. Y'all are nice people. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
We try.
Yeah.
I felt like it was a great conversation with you. I learned a
Yeah.
lot that I
Hey,
didn't
this is
know
what we
about you.
do. We're just regular folk in this
Right.
campaign. Right? That's
But
the
where can
truth.
people find you at? Where do they need to look for you? Do you have any words for the people who might watch this podcast that are in Alabama?
If you want a guy that just genuinely cares about this state, it's me. I love this state. I've been here my whole life. I'm a small businessman that takes a lot of pride and been employed here in the state of Alabama for over 35 years. I don't take any special interest money. I tell people this is your state and I'll work for you. That's the mentality I have. We're just going to make good common sense decisions and try to do things that improve. The theme of my campaign is improving the quality of life for Alabamians or giving them that opportunity to improve their quality of life. So
Awesome.
All right. Well, hey, thank you for
thank y'all
being
so
on,
much.
Chig.
Thanks.
Seriously, I appreciate it.
Best of
Thank
luck to
you. Good
you.
luck.
Yeah, y'all take care up there in Athens
All
and
right.
tell
All right.
Thank
everybody I
you.
said hey.
You have a
All
good
right.
one, man.
Take care. Bye bye.